Welcome to Project Bring Me Life, Salina.
Hi, thanks so much for having me tonight.
Yeah, you're very, very, very welcome. Let's start it off. I did have some questions, and basically, I want to start asking people. The very first thing I want to ask them is about who they are, where they come from, and what their purpose is here. And that can mean many things, but how do you feel about that?
Who am I? I would definitely say the best job and role that I have is as a mom. I am the mom of two amazing daughters, and they are absolutely the apple of my eye, if you will. Beyond and above that, as far as defining myself, I am a high priestess, and I am in league with Avalon, which means that I am specifically connected to the Order of the Lady of the Lake, which is based out of Avalon in the UK, which is a physical location of Glastonbury in the country of England. And I am currently practicing here in the U.S. I serve my own order, which is the Order of the Gryphon, for Vermont, New Hampshire, and the United States. And then I teach and do public workshops as well on spirituality and healing. So, short answer, I would say that I'm a priestess and a healer, and both of those things require you to be a mother in a lot of ways. So yeah. I think that that's kind of how that flows in.
Beautiful. Well, we really do appreciate you being on the show, and I can't thank you enough.
I'm so excited to be here. I'm really excited to have all of you taking place and having this take place with all of you, with Shannon and Ashton and you, and it's just very special. So I'm excited to be here and to support Project Bring Me to Life.
Sweet. Thank you. So one of the things that you wanted to talk about on today's show was the Wheel of the Year. Is that?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're coming on to the Festival of Samhain, and Samhain takes place on October 31st and rolls into dawn on November 1st for the Holy Day of the Dead. And this is an extremely important holiday in the turning of the year. It represents, for lack of a better term, the pagan New Year. Certainly witches, pagans, shaman alike, goddess-worshipping cultures take this time of the year specifically to really review the past year that we've had, celebrate our triumphs, and let go of the things that were difficult for us. And so there is the tradition of jumping the fire, or a flaming broom, and both traditions, once you do that, once you jump that broom, you are reborn by a fire. It's baptism by fire, if you will, and your karma is completely cleansed. It's released at that time. So this is an extremely important holiday for many people, and coming out of Mercury in retrograde in just shy of 60 hours, a solar eclipse in just about 40 hours, we've had one heck of an October, and so it is.
Say that again.
It is even more important this year to really recognize the process of what Samhain is and how we can celebrate it. This is also the time where the God figure turns into the wise man, and where the goddess figure turns into the crone. And so this is a slowing down for us. And as a people, we are really starting to relax and come into the quiet time of the year, where we are contemplating where and what we would like to do going forward. And so this is a time for a lot of writing, a lot of reflection, a lot of prayer, connection to Source and to Gaia. And it's a really important time of the year because we also recognize and honor all of our sacred dead, all of the people that we've lost over the course of the year that are important to us and have passed on. And so it's an opportunity for us to really recognize their space and place in our hearts and in our souls now, and also then to help them through prayer to go forward into their next space towards incarnation.
Mm.
And the next space we go after this, because that's usually the first question everybody asks, so where do we go from here? We go to the winter solstice, and that is the shortest day of the year. And we go into that holiday with the hope to bring light into the darkness that night through our celebration, through our joy. It's a very happy holiday. And then right after that celebration at winter solstice, we go into an extremely quiet time. Absolutely nothing happens. And one of the reasons why this is very important to mention is because our busy lives now require us to be constantly logging onto our phones and connecting to our computers and all of these wonderful social media sites. And we are starting to lose that opportunity to really take a moment and reflect on what we have and where we're going. And that's really what this time of the year is for. So it's a great time to start some quiet projects, but it's not really a manifestation time. This is really a time of reflection and creativity and planning.
Kind of like the leaves are changing, so everybody else is changing too before they go into hibernation.
Exactly. That's exactly it. It gives us one last vibrant boost of color and hope. My girls have been collecting the leaves and making wreaths out of them and doing all sorts of great art projects with them. And it's a wonderful opportunity to get outside right now and kind of grasp that last moment of energy that we have.
It's really important too, because I've been trying to do like a lot of projects and all that stuff, but it seems so nice to just think about settling down and relaxing for a while and thinking about like what we want to do next. So it's just a really good thing. So from winter solstice we go to Imbolc, and that is Groundhog Day, February 2nd. And this is the ancient festival of the bringing of life, which I thought was important to mention. Bringing of life. I like that a lot.
It is your holiday, if you will. And the reason for that is because initially, if you are a non-deity driven person, if you prefer to be more scientific in your process, this would be your Big Bang Theory holiday. It is when all things, all life start, and the microcosm of the moment and the divine goddess and the divine god come together in that microcosm, and they just start to think. And they start to think and emerge just quickly. And as all things do in life, the faster you think, the more things start to manifest. And the more things start to manifest, the more intuition there is. The more intuition there is, the more action there is. And so the build from Imbolc goes right into spring equinox, which is March 21st. And that day is the day when the goddess and the god come into their maiden and stag form. And so it's a really beautiful time of the year. That's when everything starts really popping. And the energy and the fruition of projects really start jumping and start blooming, if you will, right along with all those cute bunnies and flowers and things that we see as symbols of fertility and life and the bringing of the light to coming back into a time of growing. And so when people ask me, how do I plan for my year? How do I plan for projects? I always tell them to really recognize at what point of the year you're in. You know, if you really want to start a business and you want to start to build capital and you want to start to build investment, it's going to be best for you to start your inertia towards those things going into the springtime. And then really building that process during the summer and the early fall. This time of the year is really for that quiet and that resting. And so it's really important that we take those moments and those time periods into account so that we can be most effective. I know that Ashton and Shannon are going to talk about the moon and the planets a little bit too, and where they are and how they're interacting in the wheel of the year can certainly send things all afray and aflutter, as we've more than seen this October. With 2 eclipses and retrogrades left and right. The solar flares have been acting up incredibly and have been really affecting a lot of people's energy. And knowing where those things are happening during the year, that's really important to keep that in tune with the tape.
Yeah, we do have a solar flare update coming on later, so really excited about that. Yeah, and I know you use tarot a lot, and you're gonna do a card reading near the end and give one away to someone in the audience.
Yeah.
So I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about the tarot, like why it's important and how it can help us.
Sure. So the tarot and divination in general, runes, card readings, even some forms of channeling, all of these types of things are incredibly important in helping us plan and guide our lives. And lots of people have different approaches to reading the tarot and doing divinational readings. I do 17 different forms of divination, including everything from flowers to tea to birth charts and the Mayan astrology. And so I definitely use tarot and runic readings as a directional concept. For me, I like to think of the tarot as a map. It gives you the opportunity to look at a map, and when people say, well, do I really need to see a reader for that? Well, sometimes no. Sometimes you can read your own map. And sometimes somebody can have some extra knowledge about what is going on through their interpretation of that map. And so a lot of times when people come to me for readings, I will give them this analogy of the map and tell them that I'm going to give them the opportunity to get off at this exit or this exit. There might be construction here. There might be, a roadblock here. And I'm able to translate that map in a way that you might not see it. Maybe it's because I can see that plane and that energetic sphere. Maybe it's because I have some insight into how the signals or the signs should be read. And so it's something that anybody can learn. I believe that anybody can learn to read the tarot and anybody can learn to read runes, and that they can use them very effectively in their own lives to choose daily cards or support, as Ashton was doing the meditation, to support a meditation or a prayer source. But it also really gives us kind of like a check-in on where we have been coming from to the past, where we are right now, and where we're going with the future.
Beautiful. And for this, I'm sorry, I just had a brain fart. Lately I've been really depressed. And
okay.
I don't know why. Maybe it's because of the attunement that I've been having and during the retrograde as well. Maybe it's both together. Is there any specific things that you do during Mercury retrograde that involves tarot?
That's an excellent question. Yes. Specifically for myself, I have a tendency to, during Mercury in retrograde, choose a reading a week. So every week I'm pulling 3 cards for myself, kind of giving myself a check-in with the 3 ethereal parts of my body. So in a 3-card reading, you can do that past, present, and future. You can also, ahead of time, choose those 3 stations as an opportunity to look at the 3 parts of your ethereal being. I believe that each person has 4 parts of their being. They have their physical being, they have their spiritual being, they have their emotional being, and they have their mental being. And so when we look at the 3 parts of the ethereal beings, you can choose cards for each of those beings. So you can choose a card for your mind, you can choose a card for your heart, you can choose a card for your soul or your spirit being. And this can be very effective during the weekly check-ins, because it allows us to really connect to what our beings need and what our mind might need, what our heart might need.
I've used my cards a lot during Mercury retrograde. They've helped me get through some really intense experiences. I think that cards are really good for visual learners, because everybody learns a lot differently, and people who are technically visual learners, I think they need that picture almost to get their to confirm their intuition for them, because everyone has an intuition, but when you have like the cards give you that visual confirmation, it's like, oh, the universe is really telling me this is happening or something's coming, and it's like a nice like sign pretty much from the guides.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more, Shannon. I think that but whether it's as a visual learner or just as the ability to really say, you know what, I'm not lying to myself right now, because we have a tendency to spin these thoughts. You know, we're perpetually motivated by media, we're perpetually motivated by advertising and by product placement, that we are supposed to be all of these things. And when we do a reading like this, it really strips that out. It really takes those things away, and it gives us the raw reflection of ourselves and what we really need in that moment. So I agree with you completely.
I'm not very versed in tarot reading, but I enjoy getting readings, and I've done it a few times, and it sort of like kind of channels through you. And I believe you did want to talk a little bit about channeling, or was it divining that you said?
Yep. So there are different types of different types of, or forms of divination, and lots of people channel in different ways. I've watched a couple of your segments on the Project Divining Your Life podcast in the past with some really amazing channelers that you've had. For me, I have the tendency to receive message, whether it's angel or goddess related, sometimes when I'm doing the readings directly, and sometimes it's in a separate connection or community. I just recently did a set of channelings with the Arcturians, the Starseed family, and that was a very powerful channeling experience for me. There were lots of crazy things that happened both vibrationally and with the electronics, all sorts of recorded sounds and energies that were coming in during that channeling, and so that's a very powerful set of experiences. And I think that is a form of divination or expression of message that certain people need, that type of confirmation or that type of guidance coming in from the other side to help them feel like they're connecting with their spirit beings. But I don't necessarily consider channeling something that everyone should do. I think that that's something that works for some folks and then might be just over the top for other folks. So I think that you can enjoy divination and not necessarily gravitate towards channeling.
Yeah, for sure. I know I personally like channeling, and I've been working a lot with Archangel Michael. Well, mostly Archangel Michael and a few others, but is there any specific angels that you work with the most?
I would say I definitely have a very deep connection to Archangel Michael. I would also say that I have had very powerful communication from Archangel Gabriel and Archangel Uriel, both very powerful angels, and specifically for me, it's not something that I call in directly, like I don't sit and attempt to channel. For me, it's really that it just happens, like it just starts happening, and usually spontaneously. If I have somebody who's come to me and requested a channeling specifically, then I will open myself as a channel and see who arrives. But those would be the three that would most typically come to give me direct message.
Wonderful. I just want to read this comment out to you. Somebody said that Salina holds a special place in my heart, no doubt about it. So just wanted to send you that love.
Yeah, I was smiling about that too.
That's really beautiful.
I'm so glad people are interacting and coming onto the chat room. That's so awesome. We have more than 4 people too.
Yeah, so please get involved with us and interact with us. We really, really do appreciate it, and we're trying to bring as many opportunities for that as possible. So, Salina, I just wanted to, I guess, sort of we got about 5 more minutes for this interview, and so one thing I was going to ask you was about the Order of the Gryphon and/or Avalon. I was curious to understand that a little bit more.
In 5 minutes or less. All right.
Yeah, right? Try to explain that from
Wrong
sum up that whole Avalon thing? I mean, how did Monty Python put it? Why should I give myself an allegiance to some watery tart with a sword? I think that basically sums it up. I think everyone's pretty familiar with the King Arthur legends and the idea of Merlin and the idea of the Round Table and the idea of the Lady of the Lake presenting Arthur with the Sword of Truth. Lots of people have heard of the Da Vinci Code. That's certainly another one more contemporary that's kind of like traveled back through now and gave a lot of press to Avalon and to the idea of the Sacred Chalice. And the Holy Sacred Chalice is something that we believe is the most sacred symbol. We believe that it represents the holy divine feminine, and we are definitely dyadic and source-oriented. Avalon specifically prays to both the god and the goddess. So I serve both. There are certainly traditions that serve just one or the other, but for me, I serve both. We are a nature-based faith. No, we don't wear goat skin leggings. I have never killed anything I didn't.
Cute to bear, though.
And I certainly don't believe in bloodletting for ritual in any capacity. I believe that blood is the least sacred essence. The most sacred essence that you can give from your body to the gods are your tears. It is when you are most honest with yourself. So Avalon also believes in that law and that order. So the Order of the Gryphon is my order. I was bestowed the order when I reached a High Priestess rank. I was given my High Priestess ordination in Glastonbury, the UK, i.e. Avalon. And I'm very honored to be able to sit on the High Council. So I'm thankful for that. I teach, right now I have 30 active students, and you can petition me for student process if that's something people are interested in. I also give workshops 4 times a year all over the country, and I attend the festival circuit as well and teach and do divination and readings on the festival circuit. My favorite festival this year was Rootwire. For lots of reasons, but mostly because all you beautiful people were there.
Yeah, that's where we all met.
So, certainly a truly magical time.
Yeah, definitely. It was quite a pleasure meeting you and experiencing Rootwire with you and being part of your workshop and your posse, I guess you could say.
You are my minstrel, officially, on the Rootwire sign-up. So not many people understand that Silmon is actually a very fine musician himself, but he was my traveling minstrel for the entire show, and I was very grateful for it. Shannon did an excellent
awesome.
job.
Yeah.
Shannon also did an excellent job serving me. She did a beautiful job supporting me through that process, and I was very grateful for all of her hard work and her effort through that process.
Yeah, thank you. Well, thank you for being here, and if any of you out there have any questions for Salina, you can email us. If you're at the live chat, there's a little form below where you can send it. Otherwise, there is this, Bring Me to Life project. It's confusing, I know, I'm sorry.
I tried to tell him to not do it that way. He just